Today is what a July day in Wisconsin should be. Warm, sunny, slightly humid. But on this day in 1996, one of the strongest tornadoes ever to hit the Badger State tore through a small town in Fond du Lac County.
Fox 6 weather expert A.J. Waterman takes us back to that day 25 years ago.
July 18, 1996. A hot and very humid day across Wisconsin with the threat of afternoon storms. Retired Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Vince Candela remembers just how strong the potential for severe weather really was.
So the dew points, I think, in the morning were still pretty high, upper 60s or 70, but by later in the afternoon, I think the dew point in Madison was like 78. So we knew something big was going to happen.
And Vince was right. That afternoon, a strong thunderstorm in Fond du Lac County started rotating. At 7:05, the storm produced a tornado about 4 miles west of the village of Oakfield.
That's a tornado touchdown. You got dust on the ground.
The tornado strengthened quickly as it began its journey eastward, while sirens blared warning of the impending threat.
We're just out of the path of it.
I'll never forget that image.
Friends Travis and Brett think back to that day 25 years ago.
My aunt calls us and she goes, "You guys need to get in the basement. There's a tornado, huge one coming." And we're like, looking out the windows, we're like, "What are you talking about? There's nothing out there."
Travis watched from his home in Mayville, just a few miles south of Oakfield.
Boom. It just pops up. It looks like it's taken out our northern farm. It looks like it's taken out our babysitters. It looks like it's taken out the countryside, not knowing it's in Oakfield at the time. It was honestly a monster. I don't think I'll ever see anything like it.
Just remember it being really humid.
Brett and his family were home playing cards. Their AC unit was on full blast from the high humidity, so they were unable to hear the sirens warning of the approaching storm.
Yeah, I just remember it being real muggy. All of a sudden, the AC unit falls out of the window. And all I can remember is we get that basement door open finally, and my dad couldn't shut it because of the wind pressure. He never was able to end up getting it closed, and luckily we were safe. He got us behind the door.
The now strong F4 tornado was over the heart of Oakfield, ravaging the small community as it continued to grow stronger. By the time it left Oakfield, the tornado was a violent F5, the strongest on the Vegeta scale, with winds around 300 miles an hour. After the tornado passed, Brett and his family emerged from their home's basement and saw the incredible destruction left behind.
There's just shards of glass everywhere, and easily me or my sister or my dad could have been hit with. There is some houses completely off the lot. All these houses around, like every house pretty much had some sort of damage.
The town was hardly recognizable. Homes, cars, businesses, and even the town's century-old oak trees were destroyed. Having heard Oakfield took a direct hit from the tornado, Travis joined hundreds from the surrounding community to assist with storm cleanup.
Quite a bit of the town debris, we ended up finding photos from 6 blocks over, and cans were all over the community because the canning factory got pretty totaled out on that.
I forgot how many miles away they were still finding cans like weeks later. And I think the concession stand's really the only original thing that's still here. Like none of these dugouts or that was there. I believe that was all new. I didn't remember this playground set was not here.
The blue one was there. That thing's been there for as long as I can remember.
The pair remembering one building in particular.
Right next to the church. Church was completely destroyed. Houses on both sides of it were destroyed. The brick house is still standing there today, completely untouched. It's nuts how much it missed and then how much it just completely leveled in blocks or two apart.
Although 25 years have passed since the tornado hit Oakfield, there are still some things Brett and Travis will never forget.
But it's just like you definitely take stuff, like you don't take stuff for granted anymore.
I'll never forget that image. It's gonna be stuck in my brain for like ever. Like if I'm 85 and I don't remember anything, that's one thing I'm gonna remember is that F5 just coming up out of like literally just.
Yes.
Vince Candela recalls having a new piece of technology that may have made a difference that day.
WSR-88D, the Doppler radar systems that all the National Weather Service offices would be installing. And the promise, of course, is now being able to look inside a storm and see the velocity. Meteorologists would be able to see this rotation and issue tornado warnings 10, 15, 20 minutes in advance instead of maybe only a minute or two warning. For Oakfield, that really came true. The warning was issued well in advance, and that was the thing that impressed me the most. Just like, this is what the promise of Doppler is all about, advanced rotation. Because if we can give people 10 minutes a warning instead of maybe 2 minutes, wow, is that all the difference in the world?
For the Fox 6 weather experts, I'm meteorologist A.J. Waterman.
For so many of you who remember that, I'm sure it just sends chills through you. Amazingly enough, though, there were no casualties. By the way, that F5 tornado is just one of 3 F5 tornadoes that ever hit Wisconsin, and it is one of 2 F5 tornadoes to hit a town and not cause loss of life.
That is remarkable.